this could very well be Singapore's last proper go-kart track, and I'm about to test it out in 70-mile-per-hour race cars. Slated for demolition in 2027, this could be my last chance to test the supposed gem of Southeast Asia, built by the legendary F1 track designer Herman Tilke. So it begs the question, how does a country with one of the best Formula 1 Grand Prix order the demolition of its only permanent racetrack? Well, we'll answer this question later in the video, but we're also going to be evaluating this track in 2 different parts. So to kick things off, it's time to meet the subscriber who will be setting my challenge for today.
You can get 48 today on a race car. Bloody impressive. I'll be like,
I have zero expectations. I'm just like, I just want to learn the layout first, so that I'm pushing for the rental race. But for this, I don't want to myself. So.
All right, here we go. I'm gonna follow Ian here, who's he knows this track like the back of his hand. This is his home track, and this is, I think, his own kart as well. So this is the reverse layout. They change the layout once every 12 months, so they just changed this layout recently. So not a lot of the rental karters even know this layout yet. Okay, a lot of curve. You're gonna go nice and slow for me.
Ian's literally done thousands of laps around this track, so I can't think of a better driver to show me around. If I can even get remotely close, I will be very pleased with myself.
Wow, there's no room for runoff through here.
You'll notice that every square inch of this piece of land has been put to good use, and the track layout is pretty tight and twisty, but it isn't without its high-speed sections either.
Wow, what a technical little track, but it's gonna be super physical, I can already tell.
If you've never driven a race kart or race car before, it's a little bit difficult to describe the differences in G-forces from a rental kart. Quite honestly, even roller coasters can't put in perspective just how physical these things are to drive. Take it from me, someone who's an actual Formula 3 champion, and I can tell you for sure that these cars are pretty much as close as you're gonna get in terms of the physicality.
Oh, there's a cadet there, I don't want to scare him.
While top-level rental karters will also need quite a lot of finesse to be fast, these karts require an extra level of technical precision.
This kart only has rear brakes, so it's super easy to lock up. It's no different than a rental kart. It's just that we have so much more grip that once you lock up, you really lock up. Even though I've raced in professional car racing, my background is pretty much entirely in rental karts, so these race karts are really foreign for me.
And the reason I didn't do much race karting back in the day is because it is so much more expensive than rental karting. But in hindsight, I wish I had done more race karts because there's stuff you just don't learn in rental karting that apply really well here, like tire wear and all sorts of kart setup that really helps you for the race car.
We're in a cadet session, so there's a lot of slower karts on track with us.
So because no one knew where my pace would be in a race car, they decided to put me in the kids session for this first round. And if I do a half-decent job, they might just put me up to adults in the next round.
Whoa, it's such a tricky track. It's hard to even memorize. Trying to keep my eyes cemented as far forward as possible. Whoa, this is fast. Okay, I'm getting nowhere close to the fast times today in this part at least. God, this is crazy. Oh. The G-forces are crazy. In these race cars, I'm told you can achieve 3 Gs on this track. I'm starting to memorize the layout a little bit. I just have no confidence. This thing is rapid. But the curves are usable. But they're very aggressive. Oh. God, it's a shame this track might be disappearing. This is a proper track. Whew. What a freaking track, man. Whew. I need a second to catch my breath here. Man, it's so physical. It's so technical, but there's still a couple of high-speed sections as well. This is a track I have a feeling will be well suited, obviously to race cars, but also to rentals, which is super rare. Most race car tracks are big, wide open. When you get in a rental and they feel too slow, but this is a different story. It's such a shame this track might be disappearing because this is a proper circuit.
And we'll get into exactly why that is a little bit later in this video, but first, let me give you some more context as to the relationship F1 has with the nation of Singapore. The first Grand Prix held on on the island was while it was still under British rule in 1961. It was only after the country gained independence that the first official Singapore Grand Prix was held in 1966. Now back then, the race was held on a completely different track than it is today, one so dangerous in fact that the race was shut down permanently in 1974. It was only in 2008 that a completely new custom street track was implemented in Marina Bay, and really, the rest is history. The new F1 track, also designed by Herman Tilke, just like KF1, became an instant favorite. Not only was it the first night race in F1's history, but the layout became instantly notorious for its physicality, in part due to the track layout and also Singapore's humidity. So if F1 is so massive in Singapore and they have kart tracks as robust as KF1, then why isn't there a Singaporean driver on the F1 grid right now? Well, the answer comes down to one major thing, and that's Singapore's mandatory national service. Every male in Singapore must serve 2 years in the military once they turn 18. Now, Singapore isn't the only country with a mandatory national service, but these other countries usually only have 1 year of service or less, which is much more manageable. The result has been that pretty much every Singaporean hopeful has had their career completely ended by the national service, or they've just had to pivot to other forms of motorsports where age is a little bit less of a concern. It really is such a shame for the country because I've witnessed firsthand on numerous occasions my own Singaporean friends having to completely give up their dream of F1, and this unfortunately is going to be a reality that's unlikely to change anytime soon. Singapore has produced a lot of top tier talent which have had as much success in Europe, Japan, and the States as they do here locally, and I honestly believe a lot of that comes down to the technicality of this very kart track. And speaking of technicality, I've got a lot more lap time to find, so let's see what I can do in session 2.
I'm so glad I was following you because I think that finding the line here would be very difficult on your own. Like, it would take sessions upon sessions, maybe even months to actually learn the line, so it's good to really follow you today.
It's a very unique track. The key to KF1 is all about how you ride the bumps, right? So you have to be very, very aggressive, right? You need to have a good turn in your car, and you need to be able to ride the bumps, right? So because the track is a little bit bumpy as well, so you need to know where the bumps are, you need to climb over them very well, right? And then get on the gas as quickly as possible. That usually seems to work for me, let's put it that way, right?
As soon as you were putting the hammer down, you would just leave me so quickly. Like, you were gone in literally like 2 quarters. So,
but to be honest, you were doing 51s. That's about right for somebody who has talent, who comes here for the first time, let's put it that way, right? See, like, if you're gonna do more race cars, I would say, like, if you can get to 48 today, which I think you can, right? That'll be mighty impressive, let's put it that way. Right?
So 3 seconds from where I am now, I don't know if I have the energy or the strength within me. Maybe I have the skill, but not the strength. So I'll give it a go though. We'll do at least one more session and let's see if I can get in the 48s.
Hopefully.
Okay, here we go, session 2. Just try and get a little bit more dialed in here, but hopefully my energy doesn't leave me before I figure out this track. I need to really work on picking up my vision through these corners, because one leads into the next, so you kind of, the exit for one corner is the entry for another. I think one of my problems is I'm over-slipping the front tires too much. I'm used to that from rental karting on hard compound tires, but that just doesn't work in these karts. Apparently that's flat through there, but there's no way I'm getting there. There's a lot of grip there at the apex. There's a bit of banking that you can't see that easily. Oh, big lock up. We did late apex there.
It's becoming quite clear quite quickly that this is going to be a lot harder than I expected. But thankfully for me, I've got Ian, one of my subscribers, who's literally done thousands of laps around this track to help me out throughout this video. The truth is, I don't actually think race karts are necessarily a lot more difficult than rental karts at a high level, but they certainly are much easier to make big mistakes in.
Ooh.
Now later in the video, I'll get into the differences in driving style between the rental kart and the race kart, but right now I'm using 100% of my focus to try and get into the 48.
Oh, that's the last corner.
What's crazy is I've only done like 5 or 6 laps up to this point, but I can already feel it in my body. This track and these karts are no joke. So let's pull into the pits and see where I'm at.
Okay, I think that was faster, but I had quite a lot of traffic, so I'm not really sure if the actual lap time was faster or not. It's also getting hotter, so the track's probably getting slower.
48.4. Okay. Oh, I see. 48th floor. Okay. We hit the goal of 48. Ian said, I'm really surprised because there was a lot of traffic and I don't think I got a clean lap. So maybe dipping in the 47th is possible, but my body is definitely feeling it. Oh man. Well, let me get some tips from Ian. See how I can get that next little bit. We'll go from there, and then I'm actually quite excited to try out the Sodies. I want to see how this place feels in a rental cart.
You're going to pro already, the pro section already. We'll do one more, right, and then we'll go to pro because too many distractions that you couldn't really get into a rhythm.
Okay.
Right, so we'll do one more.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, one more race cart session, and then we're on to the rentals.
But before we get into my last attempt to impress the locals with a fast lap time, here's what is really going on with the demolition of this track. As I revealed in the subscriber race video, we established that the land underneath of this track is actually owned by a now defunct horse racing track next door. And Singapore's laws allow the government to reclaim any underutilized land, so they potentially could be seizing back the land underneath of KF1. At the moment, it's looking like the government will be demolishing or at least taking over KF1's land as early as 2027, but efforts are being made by the management to prove that the land is still being put to good use. Now, in my opinion, I think it would be crazy for the government to destroy this track, and apart from a purely entertainment-focused rental kart track, Hyperdrive, this is the only place on the island where Singaporean drivers can develop their skill. I think you can easily make the case that this land is really being put to good use, and I sincerely hope the ownership is able to convince the government to let them keep their land, or at least maybe defer the demolition for as long as possible. The absolute best case scenario is that KF1 is granted access to even more of the horse racing track's land to produce an even bigger kart track. One can hope and dream, right? While F1 is still very much out of reach for many Singaporeans because of the national service, professional motorsports certainly isn't out of reach, but I fear the loss of KF1 could completely change that. Whether it's the race karters or the rental community, Singaporeans are relying on this incredible track for their development, so if there's anyone watching this from the government that can make a difference, I sincerely urge you to help in any way you can. But with all that being said, it's time to hop back in the race cart because I have just one more chance to try and impress the locals.
Okay, here we go. Third and final session to put in a time I technically already meet the goal Ian set out for me, but I want more. Need to get temperature in the tires, they're still a little bit cold.
Now, believe it or not, the reason I'm able to get up to speed so quickly is because I have a certain set of techniques I apply to any vehicle I drive, and I teach you guys how to apply this to rental karting in my course, the Karting Handbook. This course features over 30 video lessons teaching you everything you need to know to master rental karting speed, and it covers a range of topics that I learned both in car racing and in my earlier rental karting days. It's literally over 10 years worth of my own knowledge from both my own driving and from coaching other drivers, and we've already helped hundreds of students shave off seconds off their lap time. So be sure to make this your fastest racing season yet by using the discount code on screen, and let's see if we can get down into the 47s.
I'm gonna give a bit of a gap here. I don't want to get racy.
But unfortunately for me, I was not checking my 6, and there was actually one of my subscribers, Charvesh, right on my heels. I knew instantaneously that he was going to be faster than me, but that wasn't going to stop me from trying to keep him behind for as long as I possibly could. It would appear my braking is a little bit weak, but my mid-corner speed is good, but none of that really matters if you're not maximizing exits, and sure enough, Charvesh just flies past me down the street. Now, I kind of knew I wasn't going to be able to keep him behind for long, but now my target is to see if I can keep Ian behind because he is quickly approaching us both.
Oh, pushing so hard.
Now, I'm not gonna lie, having the pressure of a really fast driver behind you probably isn't helping my hot lap situation, but it doesn't matter. This is an absolute blast.
I think I would have called it there. I felt like a pretty good lap. And the energy is going, so I don't want to make a catastrophic mistake. God, what a track, man. Alright, it's time now to try this track out in the rentals and see if it's just as fun. I have a feeling it will be.
Did I go any faster though? 47.5, hell yeah. Hell freaking yeah. My forearm, my hands are dead. My body is wrecked. At the moment, I'm 200s faster than Ian. So I'd say I am very happy with my performance there. Can I go faster? Yes, but I do not have the body for it right now. It's too hot out here, too humid. I think I've done everything I wanted to do in the race cars. It's time to move on to the rentals. And I have a feeling the Sodis will be just as fun as those race cars on this track. So this is gonna be fun. What a track, man, what a track. Okay, so one of the interesting things about Singapore in general is they're very strict on, I guess, speed laws. So KF1 is technically considered an amusement park, which means it falls under some certain regulation. Meaning if you just show up and do an arrive and drive, you're gonna be limited to 30 kilometers an hour if you don't have a driver's license, or 50 kilometers an hour if you do. So that's a pretty heavy restriction. So if you wanna come here and just arrive and drive and you do have a license, you're gonna be driving in those carts over there. Those are the Vipers. They're actually quite comparable to Sodis in terms of lap time, from what I'm told, if you take the restrictor off. But obviously, they have to put a restrictor on to legally drive them. But with the Sodis, you can get around that because they technically run these as race carts. So you actually don't need a driver's license, funnily enough, but it falls under a different restriction. You can't just show up and drive these. They got to know who you are and what your experience level is. But yeah, that's why we can drive these Sodi carts in the race cart sessions with the proper fast race carts. So yeah. If you come to Singapore to drive, make sure you bring a driver's license at the very least.
Okay, so we're heading out now in the Sodis. Quite excited to try these. Now you're gonna notice there are actual race carts in this session as well, which is kind of crazy, but it's because legally these Sodis are considered race carts because of the top speed. Already in the rental cart, totally different driving style required. Much more understeering. You got to do more rotation with the brakes. A lot of these corners will be flat out. So everyone else who's in the Sodis are my subscribers. So you're going to see them in the subscriber race, which is coming out very, very soon. So make sure you're subscribed for that. But everyone is very fast, which means it's going to be a kind of ridiculously intense race, I think. Oh, here's the race cart. Look how much power these race carts has. Isn't it nuts? Okay, definitely can brake a lot later than in the race cart. Now what I'm wondering is if I can use some of these inside curbs to rotate the cart in a way that I wouldn't dare try in the race cart. I really need to do a lot of experimentation. My Singaporean and Malaysian subscribers have been so fast. So if I can be anything but last, I will be very impressed with myself, quite honestly. God, what a nice track though. Doesn't matter what kind of car you're in, it's so much fun to drive. You definitely have to be really aggressive with the turn-in on these Sodis. They tend to understeer quite a lot, so you gotta use a combination of brake locking and aggressive steering input. Looks like we might have a little battle going here. Oh my god. Bit of switchback. Completely different line in the rentals. But it's really intriguing to try and learn this track. Just in time for Checker 2, I feel pretty confident. Definitely not the fastest, but I think that's not too bad for my first session in Sodi. So if you want to see me race my subscribers here, make sure to subscribe and keep an eye out for a subscriber race video. Honestly, what a track. What a track. I really hope this track can stay around for a bit longer. It'd be such a shame if the Singaporean drivers lost this, because this is a proper track. You can learn a lot here. Okay, so it looks like P1 out of the Sodis was a 103.28. I was P3, it looks like. 1 minute 3.468.
So yeah, it probably doesn't come as a surprise to anyone here, but I'm definitely a lot more up to speed in rental carts than I am in race carts. But if you enjoyed this race kart video, we're going to be doing another one at Asia's largest go-kart track in the next video, so make sure you're subscribed for that, and be sure to check out the Karting Handbook if you want to up your game this season. Because you made it this far in the video, use this code on screen at checkout for a massive discount. But with that being said, I will see you guys on the next one.